Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone watching online here in the Philippines and worldwide. Welcome to the Public Sector Productivity Webisodes. My name is Lorenzo, and I will be your moderator for today. So before we begin, I'd like to give a big warm shout out to some of our attendees. Of the thousands in attendance today, we have the pleasure of being joined by agencies like the LGU of Imus City, the GSIS Central Office in Pasay City, Pag-ibig Fund at Makati City, Office of the Ombudsman, Quezon City, University of the East, Philippines, Department of Education, Central Office, Philippine Air Force, Clark Air Base, Pampanga, and to the many more in attendance, again, welcome. Now, we at the Development Academy of the Philippines play a crucial role in nation building by 1. Generating pioneering ideas, 2. Promoting partnerships, and 3. Capacitating stakeholders. And this is why we're hosting these webinars today. We want to give you new ideas, we want to connect you with people, and we want to help you do better. So with that being said, it's my pleasure to introduce to you today's expert. She is an education program supervisor who obtained her bachelor's degree at St. Anthony's College, San Jose, Antique, as an academic awardee. After a short period of teaching, she was promoted as assistant principal for academics and later became the principal at Pandan Bay Institute, Pandan Antique, while earning her master's degree at the University of San Agustin, Iloilo City, as a scholar of fund assistance to private education. She also worked at Rizal High School, Pasig City. During her stint, she became an outstanding science teacher, a science coordinator, a division and regional resource speaker, coach in various science contests, and a faculty representative. She is currently the Education Program Supervisor in Science in the Division of Antique and the Division Focal Person for Special Education. Presently, she is a scholar of PNU and EAP, Linking Standards and Quality Practice Program. So, with that being said, let us all welcome Miss Anita Gubalane. Okay, good afternoon, Miss Anita. The floor is yours.
So again, good afternoon, everyone. It is a great honor to share with you this innovation project from the Schools Division of Antique. Before going further on that, let us have first some warm-up activity. Sir Renz, is our chat box open?
Yes, our chat box is open.
So I'll start with the first slide. You have to answer on the chat box. There's a few questions. First, we have, does innovation produces technology? Your answer could be a yes or a no. Can you read some answers for me, sir?
Sure thing, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
So, does innovation produce technology? Yes or no, please? Yes. From Miss Cherry, she says yes. From Sir Phyllis, yes. Elizabeth, yes. Josephina, yes. Ang dami pong yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Ang daming yes.
Ang daming yes.
Okay.
Wala.
I'll give the correct answer. It is a no, because innovation doesn't equal technology. Innovation can produce technology, but it's not totally a technology that will be produced by such innovation. So innovation could be a process, or innovation could be a development of new services. Okay, shall we go to the next question? Thank you so much for the answers. Next question. What does innovation mean in education? You can key in your answers in the chat box.
We're still waiting for our responses. New ideas from Sir Leo. Leo Jesus.
Okay, new ideas, correct. Okay.
Initiative from Miss Christine. Change from
perfect.
Sir Taharta. Well-informed and more civilized. Hala, umuulan na. Creativity, new way, curiosity, development.
Okay, actually, I'll give the correct answer. Innovation motivates us to use actually different tools in education. It is a research or a way to rediscover. And of course, it is an opportunity for us to explore. All of your answers are correct. Actually, we're good at that. Okay. So next question, the third one. What is the most important element of a project management? Okay,
Wala
are
po.
there answers?
Creating
There are
new
many
ideas.
essential elements of a project management, but this one is quite important.
From Sir Marceliano, feasibility. From Miss Emmy, planning. From Sir Glenn,
Wow.
budget, human resource.
Wow.
From
Yes.
Miss Katrina, evaluation.
Perfect.
Planning, resource,
Wow.
innovation, objective,
Wow. All of
sustainability.
that are actually important element or essential element, but we are looking into the best one. So the correct answer is communication, because It avoids actually confusion, and at the same time, it may avoid conflict, as well as we can reach our goal if we will communicate or ensure that communication is employed. And actually, it will align with the goal we're trying to solve or the problems we're trying to solve. Okay, so that's all for the warm-up activity. May we proceed now? So for the presentation outline, I'll be sharing with you the highlights of the project, or the essential element or the importance of the project, as well as how did we go about it, or the action steps, its importance, and of course its benefits, and what are the lessons learned, and what will the Division of Antique plan, or what are the plans of the Division of Antique for our innovation project. So allow me to begin with the rationale. So the occurrence of COVID-19 pandemic led to the global closure of schools that stops learning losses, particularly to the vulnerable as well as disadvantaged community. So the Schools Division of Antique has identified the following gaps in grade 3 learners for school year 2020-2021. So these are the difficulty of the learners to understand lessons from the self-learning modules, or we call it as the SLMs, because their home spaces or their home environment is different from the environment in school. There is no face-to-face instruction because of the increasing cases of COVID-19 in the province. And another one, difficulty of the parents to provide learning support to their children, because actually they are working and they could hardly give assistance to their children. And another one is the difficulty to access and use the computer technology, because they are actually not privileged enough to own their laptops, or a laptop or a phone, or even a stable internet connection. So despite the efforts made by the teachers and the school administrators in the province of Antique, there are still non-readers and non-numerates. Example of this is Prince, a 9-year-old grade 3 learner. So he is expected to read independently, being in grade 3, but he is in the frustration level in reading, meaning he could hardly read, or sometimes he do away with reading at the age of grade 3. And another one is Francis. Francis is actually expected to do numerical computation, but he cannot do even basic addition. So can we still say that there is hope in education with these children in our care? However, the Schools Division of Antique conducted the Regional Unified Numeracy Test and the DLT, or known as the Division Literacy Test for grade 3 in school year 2020-2021. And we found out that there are 15.8%, or 218 numerates, or non-numerates rather, and 11.8%, 170 non-readers out of the 1,445 grade 3 learners enrolled in grade 3 in the district of San Jose alone. The district of San Jose is actually at the capital town of Antique. So with this, in order to solve the gap, we all know that our very own DepEd Secretary, Honorable Leonor Magpulis Briones, said that education must continue. She said rather that no one should be left behind. So with that statement, we as vanguard of education still believe that no one should be left behind. So in partnership with Development Academy of the Philippines, and of course, through the initiative of our very own Deputy Speaker, Honorable Lauren Legarda, how are we going to approach this? So this is now what the Division of Antique did, no? After a series of education, training, and capability building seminars provided to us by the DAP as well as the Office of the Honorable Lauren Legarda. Through the project, Count on Us ANITA, or known as United Stakeholders. And ANITA stands for Activate the Nurturing Intensive Teaching Amidst Adversity. So the goal of this project focuses on maximizing the learning support systems for non-readers and, of course, for the non-numerates in the new normal. Another is to activate stakeholders' engagement in providing support for non-readers and non-numerates through various programs and activities. How did we executed the activity? So first, we conducted a series of consultative conferences for our stakeholders, especially the school sector. We go to the different schools to ask about the school data. Of course, we did it through memorandum, and we have to prepare a program for this. So after that, we conceptualizes the process flow. We have the pre-implementation stage, the project implementation itself, the project or the post-implementation, and all of this will be discussed later. So during the pre-implementation stage, we organizes the technical working group spearheaded by yours truly and with, of course, the different education program supervisors in the Division of Antique as our teammates. So we organized also our district technical working group spearheaded by the division champion and the district champion. So we call them champions because we in Region 6, we believe that every learner is a champion. So these are the school heads of the 24 elementary schools in the district of San Jose alone. So they are our technical working group to oversee the project. We conducted series of conferences and with the technical working group, we plan on how are we going to implement and how are we going to go about the project. The steps in here includes the development of the learning packages. So as you can see in here, there are mathematics and English teachers crafting the learning packages, which includes the passages to be printed and to be distributed to our struggling learners, or we call it as the non-numerates and the non-literates. So here are the sample learning packages provided to the learners, crafted by our pool writers. We also conducted the launching of the project with the Honorable Mayor of San Jose. So he is actually very supportive of this project, Count on Us ANITA. Of course, we followed the minimum health protocols during the launching. And during the launching in one school, we have with us the teachers, of course, in that school alone. But for other schools, we have the simultaneous virtual launching in the whole district of San Jose. And of course, it was delivered live in the FB page of the Division of Antique, so that other districts could also view the said launching. This was conducted last March 4. So these teachers are from the Antique Integrated School. And of course, in the launching, we need not to forget our SGOD team, the School Governance and Operations Division, which we consider, or whom we considered rather, our internal stakeholders. Okay, so we have with us our specialist for the social mobilization, Ma'am Roslyn Abuela, and of course, our SGOD chief in the division, Ma'am Evelyn C. Remo. We also did the capability building for teachers in teaching the beginning reading because we knew that this is actually the problem of our grade 3 learners. They don't know how to read, no? And we conducted conferences with parents of struggling learners at Maybato Elementary School. So we gathered our parents so that they will be oriented on how to teach their children. So these are the parents of the struggling learners. They are oriented by the teachers in beginning reading. Of course, before we did that, we need to get approval from our IATF, no? So that our parents could go to school to attend the conference and orientation. We also organized the mentoring hub for learners, for parents, and for teachers. So they grouped themselves so that they could assist one or two learners in their barangay, or they could have a peer tutoring also with the teachers. So our team went to the different barangays in order to meet the parents. So how does this idea align with the key stakeholders? So we need, of course, to look into the utilization of funds, especially the funds available from the SEF, or we call it as the special education funds, no, from the local government. So if there are funds, we need to ask from our honorable mayor. And our honorable mayor is actually very supportive. Then we have to prepare and present our proposal or project proposals. What are our needs? What are the services that we need from the different stakeholders or from the public agencies? And we have also the facilitation of MOA signing from our stakeholders once our proposal will be approved. And of course, we have to conduct proper implementation of the project and proper monitoring as well as the assessment. Our internal stakeholders are actually considered as champions. So our schools division superintendent, our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Corazon Tingson and Ma'am Felisa Beryong, as well as our two chiefs are actually very supportive of this project. So these are our division chiefs, Dr. Gaudencio C. Riego of the CID, and of course, the SGOD chief, Ma'am Evelyn C. Remo. Our external stakeholders were maximized to provide support. That is why the team went to the office of our honorable mayor, no, to conduct a dialogue and to present our proposal. And we get actually a positive result from them. So we have here printers donated by one of our stakeholders. We have from one of the fraternity, and we have, of course, one of the fraternity here provided us with school supplies, no, for our children, because we know that our children are working from home or they are answering their modules from home, so they don't have that school supplies with them. So they provided it for us. And of course, other stakeholders provided printers and risograph machine, and of course, bond paper so that we could print in our investment packages and our development packages from the teachers. And we have the external stakeholders were maximized also to do intensive teaching to the struggling learners. We have also uniformed men teaching a non-reader. No? He is our policeman, no? Who teach rather our children on how to read. We have also here our parents, group of parents, as well as teachers. They mill around, no? They go to places, they went to the barangay, and then they go also to sometimes in the different IP tribes or IP communities so that they could teach our learners. We have here the team. We went to one of the IP community because there was one learner who couldn't read independently. But before we see that children or that learner we need first to have a courtesy call from the IP chieftain. And of course, we need to write a letter, so that we will be allowed, because it's in their culture, to conduct a courtesy call with them. Okay, we have also here some of our teachers, some of our parents conducting intensive reading and numeracy skills. So even though in their houses, even though on street or in any available spaces, our teachers find time to teach these children. So these are the para teachers from DOLE. We were provided by para teachers, so they are actually paid by the Department of Labor to help our teachers also distribute the modules, and we tap them so that they could also teach our struggling learners under their care. These are also the external stakeholders from Maybato Elementary Schools. And we have here the MOA signing with the Ulikid PH and the St. Anthony's College Caritas at San Angel Malaiba Elementary School. They provided us with school supplies also and other materials for reading.
The English team, with all efforts, came up with reading passages and distributed these to schools with optimism that this endeavor would improve the level of literacy of the pupils.
After the official launching of the project Count on Us ANITA, the group of math teachers in the districts of San Remigio, Hamtic South, and San Jose were able to develop learning packages in mathematics. These learning packages aim to develop the mathematical skills of the target beneficiaries.
So it is with great pride, with the support of Congresswoman Loren Ligarda, our Deputy Speaker in the province of Antique, for continuously address the gaps of the non-readers of San Jose de Bella Vista. I know it's a tall order, but with our collaborative effort, through the effort of the LGU and the DepEd, and with the logistical support through our funds coming from our local government support fund, I think we have to address immediately the problems that have been a problem for the past several decades.
Yung kubaton ng mga pinangganon ng mga kabataan at ibigyan natin ng ANITA, DepEd, pantalan. Yung ko distribute sa mga palayda.
Near. Can. Down. 2 minus 0.
During this time of pandemic, education in Delegate Angel Salazar Jr. Memorial School continues. At first, it was a challenging responsibility. However, because of my passion to help children how to read, write, and solve mathematical problems, I was able to fulfill that responsibility through the help of this project, ANITA.
Project Count on Us ANITA depicts the true Bayanihan spirit, wherein our stakeholders collaborate and work together for our beneficiaries.
After 2 months of the implementation of our project through the intensive remote teaching with the help of our various stakeholders, this innovation project, Count on Us ANITA, brought a significant impact on the reading and numeracy skills of the learners. Out of 170 or 11.76% non-readers and 218 or 15.08% non-numerates in the district of San Jose, 515 or 45% increased the reading level from non-reader and frustration to instructional level. Likewise, 809 or 56% increased their numeracy level.
After 2 months of the implementation of the project, there are lessons learned that was brought about by this project. So first, we need to put significant effort and consistent follow-up with our stakeholders. Actually, it's very important to give our heart on it, to devote more of our time. And the second one, we need to dedicate ourselves and to commit ourselves to everyone involved. So we need to work hard. Clear information dissemination through different platforms. Communication, is what I have said earlier, is very important. We need to give detailed information to our stakeholders and, of course, to our teachers who are the frontliners of education. And having the help and support actually of the people around us, it can make our project, our innovation a little bit easier. What is necessary and worthwhile in here is we were able to close the gap on the perennial problem brought about by literacy and numeracy. Or out of 170 rather, 45% are now considered readers. And for non-numerates, we have 56% out of 218, or that is 126, are now under the category of numerates. Another is it widens the door of opportunities for our young ones, especially our teachers, our parents, who can serve as a guide in navigating their way amidst the uncertainties and challenges. So actually, our project gives opportunity to other stakeholders who are just silent, to the teachers who are not active enough because of pandemic. They were actually motivated to work hard because they knew that there are still learners that needs their care. Another is it is a welcome development in helping the students or the learners sustain their love of learning despite the many struggles that they are experiencing right now. So it's an eye-opener to sustain their love for learning. Another is this innovation project showed us a glimpse of the difficulties of the current world we are living in. So with this Count on Us, Anita, the stakeholders are actually motivated, and at the same time, they can see that behind these difficulties, we can still have a better future. So they continue also to navigate the uncertain terrain of the post-pandemic world. The project changed also the perspective of the people in the community, that improving the literacy and numeracy skills of the learners are not only the role of our teachers, but also the role of the entire community. That when there is unity, there is hope for every learner to become a champion. The project Count on Us, Anita, also depicts the true bayanihan spirit, wherein our stakeholders collaborate together for our beneficiaries. And how can this idea be practically or financially sustainable? So in the schools division of Antique, we have to implement the following. We will create a division policy to adopt the project in the different schools or the learning centers. We will also capacitate our teachers on how to provide assistance, as well as to linkage or to tap our stakeholders and get engaged in the project. Next is to create a team to oversee the replication of the project in the different districts. Also, to continue to tap our potential stakeholders who are not yet tapped, or they are considered as the untapped stakeholders. And indeed, as what I have said, it takes a village to educate a child. We crafted the memorandum so that our project will be replicated in the different districts in the division of Antique. So this is the office order signed at the end of our last May, the end of May, by our schools division superintendent after we presented our project in the Development Academy of the Philippines last May 4. So with that, we have actually replicated the literacy and numeracy project in the district of San Jose, in the district of Hamtic North. We have the Project Julie, we have the Project Grace. We have also other projects replicated, such as Project Burn, bridging eligible readers and numerates to achievers. And we have also Project Blocks, Roblox rather. And we have Loretz and Cess. We have also Helen to Elmers. And we have here in the secondary schools, Dali Basa sa Pantad. This is one of the IP community in the district of Tobias Fournier, where the volunteers of the project Dali Basa went to a 7-kilometer place in Pantad with IP community. They brought with them, of course, the reading materials and, of course, some food for our learners so that they will be inspired and motivated to read. So this is the project replicated by Barasanan National High School. And we have, of course, from Concepcion Caseñas Memorial School. We have here the mayor himself and the vice mayor lead in the reading program of Concepcion Caseñas Elementary School. So educating is not the role of schools or the Department of Education and teachers alone, but everybody's responsibility. So with this, we could say that you can count on us, Anita. So have a great day, stay safe, be happy, and God bless everyone. Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anita, for taking the time to discuss with us your experiences, that wonderful project, the Innovating of Basic Education Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic, the case of DepEd Antique. Well,
thank you so much, Sir Renz.
I was really inspired.
Ready for questions, sir?
Yeah,
if there are questions.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the Q&A session. As mentioned, the team has been curating questions from the chat box, and we have chosen a few to be answered live. So our first question comes from Miss Janina Hidalgo. She asks, have other obstacles to learning been eliminated, like learning disabilities? So, for example, like learning disabilities, have those been addressed, stuff like that, no?
Yes, sir. We address some learning disabilities in the sense that our teachers are so patient enough together with their parents, because the parents are guided also on how to teach the children. So in the end, this number of learners were actually, could actually read.
Thank you, Miss Anita. Our next question comes from Miss Imelda Salvador. She asks, what do you think are the factors that those readers cannot still read?
Okay, some factors are actually, we have our work from home, and they are actually doing that modular, and there is no face-to-face. In some barangays, we have the granular lockdowns, so their parents couldn't teach their children because they themselves are not capacitated. And these parents are actually working, so they couldn't guide their children.
Thank you, Miss Anita. Our next question, I combined them into two because they sound similar. So I'll read them out first. Our first question comes from Josefina Lakay. She asks, How
Thank you
do
for the
you
question.
enforce our employees to develop initiative thinking? And she also asks, are there ways or steps to develop our employees to think innovatively? No. So your project was innovative, and I'm sure and I'm sure in some way you imparted this project to those stakeholders. So how did you make that possible? Please share.
Actually, in our case, no, we have a dialogue with them. We conducted the series of conferences with them. There are so many learners because of this pandemic. They are actually they actually popped up. Their numbers are actually increasing, especially the kinder up to grade 3 learners. It's our battle cry actually, on how to motivate and how to let them read, despite this pandemic.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anita. Actually, that's a good thing that you brought it up, because our next question comes from Miss Catherine Del Mendo. She asks, why did you target grade 3 pupils? And she adds, isn't it better to start them at a younger age? So you were talking earlier about different age groups, no? So she asks, why grade 3 of all the?
Actually, because they are old enough, no, with that age. That is actually the transition. That is why we targeted grade 3.
I understand. Thank you, Miss Anita. Our next question is sort of technical. This comes from Madam Victoria Medina. She asks, did you explore the possibility that the budget of DepEd for infrastructure like school buildings instead be directed to the procurement of supplies and materials for modules, printers, computers, and so on?
Yes, actually, there are a lot of budget for our modules, for our learning materials, as well as our learning packages, no? The so-called learning activity sheets, or the LASES. We call it as learning activity sheets. We have enough, actually. But for this project alone, no, because this was already budgeted, no, for this project alone, we source out from the different stakeholders. Okay. But the budget for the buildings are actually intended for the buildings.
It's already fixed, no?
Okay, yes.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Miss Anita. Our next question comes from Miss Gina Dulce. She asks, how did you address the risk of pupils getting infected by the virus, since the intervention is done face-to-face?
Yeah. Actually, no, that's one of the challenges that we experienced during the implementation of the project. Before we go to the different barangays, before the teachers are allowed or deployed, no, we seek permission from the IATF, the local IATF, actually, because we are also scared of roaming around or going to the different barangays with struggling learners. No? So we seek approval. And then we maintain the minimum standards or the health protocols.
Okay, I understand, Ms. Anita. Thank you. Our next question comes from Adelma Tercia. She says, for some background, no, one of the successes of any innovation is its adopters, right?
Yeah.
So are there other LGU or DepEd divisions who adopted the Project ANITA?
Yes, we have actually some of the districts already adopted the project. That is why in the replication a while ago or earlier, I have presented through their district supervisors, no, in the different districts already, in Hamtic, in Tobias Fournier, and there are a lot more coming. What's good in that is they are actually motivated, no, to ensure that our learners could read and they could write.
Okay. I guess I'll be there are actually a lot of questions, Miss Anita. So yeah. I think for the sake of time, we'll choose the last 3 questions.
Okay.
So our next question comes from Sir Ricardo Bactol. I'll first read it in Tagalog since he sent it in Tagalog, and then I'll read it in Filipino. Ma'am Anita, gaano katagal niyo ginawa yung studies na yan? I mean, the duration of your research studies. Thank you po.
Actually, we started last January, the conceptualization of the project, and we ended last May. Because that was actually the timeline of the DAP. We followed the timeline. And 2 months lang ang ginawa namin. 2 months lang yung implementation itself, no? In order that these children could read. So, tutok talaga yung mga teachers.
Thank you, Ms. Anita.
Okay.
Our next question comes from second to the last question, actually.
Okay.
This is quite a substantial question. This comes from Josefino Pocoy, he asks, please share with us the birth pains you have experienced and how you were able to address them, no? When you were starting out, what were the problems that you encountered?
Actually, we experience a lot of problem, and one of it is the occurrence of this COVID-19. We find it difficult actually to go to places, especially in the different barangays where our struggling learners are situated, and of course to seek permission from our stakeholders, especially in the IP community, because they have that culture in them that we couldn't go directly to that child without asking permission from the chieftain. And another one is, in our team alone, one of the challenges that we experience are the birth pain. How could we, education supervisors, convene to sit down, because we are all busy. We have so many tasks at hand. Actually, I am the education program supervisor in science, and yet I am into numeracy and literacy. But with the help of my colleagues, the team members, we were able to address those challenges. So the birth pain is actually on how to collaborate. No?
Okay, thank you, Miss Anita. That's our last question for today. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Anita, again for taking the time to discuss with us your experience of innovating innovating basic education amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, the case of DepEd Antique. We hope to have you again in our future webinars. And dear participants, sige po. We hope to have you again.
Participants.
Okay. And I'll just give a quick reminder to our participants. Dear participants, please don't forget to accomplish the evaluation form through the link we will post in the chat box. Deadline is until Friday next week. Okay, so on behalf of the Academy, I would like again to thank everyone for watching. We hope that you learned a lot today, and we hope to see you again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Philippine Standard Time, for our next topic, digitalization of government services in the new normal. Only here at the Public Sector Productivity Webinars. Thank you, Ms. Anita. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.